quick disclaimer before the video begins: all information presented was taken from the final beta of Star Rail, and as such is subject to change before its final release. With Star Rail right around the corner, I had a flashback moment taking me right to the beginning of my Genshin Impact journey, and not knowing what to spend my resin on during those very early stages of the game, as everything else in the world just overwhelmed me. Knowing how that feels, I wanted to make this video for anybody who is new and might be considering jumping into Star Rail as their first game in this genre, to avoid them feeling the same way. But before we jump into what we should be spending our stamina on, which in this game is called Trailblaze Power, let's first cover what options we have to spend it on first. In Star Rail, there are 4 options to spend our Trailblaze Power on, and those options are Calyx Buds, that come in Golden and Crimson, Stagnant Shadow, Cavern of Corrosion, and Echo of War. I'll go ahead and go through what each of these stages reward you with, along with how much Trailblaze Power each consumes, so let's get into it. Starting with the Calyx Buds, they come in 2 different varieties, like I said, Golden and Crimson, and each take 10 Trailblaze Power to redeem. Redeeming a Golden Calyx Bud can reward you with either character XP materials, Light Cone XP materials, or credits, which are Star Rail's in-game money, depending on which variation of it you choose. Meanwhile, the Crimson Calyx Bud can reward you with character trace upgrade materials and Light Cone Ascension materials instead. With the Calyx Buds out of the way, we can move on to Stagnant Shadow, which will take 30 Trailblaze Power to redeem. Clearing the stage will reward you with character ascension materials. However, I do want to note that there are 7 different Stagnant Shadow stages, each corresponding with a different element in the game. So simply choose the element that matches the character you wish to ascend. Now finally we arrive at what will most likely be the bane of certain players' existence, the Cavern of Corrosion, which houses our various relics. But yes, this is where we'll be farming our relics in this game. And all that Star Rail asks is for 40 Trailblaze Power to redeem these sweet nothings into our inventory. But before all our collective tiers start to drop though, I'd like to say that since this video is focused on how we should be using our Trailblaze Power in the earlier stages of the game, we can let out a bit of a collective sigh, as farming these bad boys isn't in the cards for us just yet. And last but not least, we have Echo of War, which is basically Star Rail's form of weekly bosses from Genshin. And just like in Genshin, it only costs 30 Trailblaze Power to redeem, in which doing so would reward us with Light Cones and Tracks of Destiny, which are used to upgrade character skill levels. However, please make a note that you can only do 3 runs of Echo of War a week, but unlike Genshin, you can farm the same boss 3 times in that 1 week. Now that we've gone over what we can get from these stages and what it'll cost you, I want to go back to Trailblaze Power and how much of it we have to work with. In Star Rail, we have 180 Trailblaze Power to use before we have to wait for it to recharge over time, or use consumables to refill it. So that begs the question of what should we be spending it on in the very early stages of our account progression. But before we get into my opinion on what we should be spending our Trailblaze Power on, I just want to say that these are just that, my opinions. I wouldn't want my words to be taken as a dictation of how to play the game, because I believe that playing the game the way you want to play it should take priority over anything else. So please, do whatever seems fun for you in the moment. Now getting back to what we should use it on, I do think it'll be smart early to spend 120 of our Trailblaze Power between whichever XP material and whichever Ascension material you need at the moment from the Calyx Buds. And with that, we still have 60 Trailblaze Power remaining. And in my recommendation, I'd say it's probably worthwhile to use 30 on Stagnant Shadow for character ascension materials, and then use the remaining 30 on a weekly boss of your choice. That is assuming that we have them unlocked, of course. With what I think out of the way, I just want to reiterate that this advice is really only applicable in the very early stages of the game. And as players rank up and get higher Trailblaze level, obviously more options will open up, so your priorities will shift and change to what you need. I want to thank you all for watching through the video. It's actually the first time I've done a video like this that was scripted, and I might consider doing more in the future while I'm playing Star Rail. But if you guys have any suggestions or ideas that you would want me to talk about, let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I might make more stuff. Okay, so I wrote a thing in the script to say at the end, but I'm a little too embarrassed to say it now. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.